Hello everyone, I'm Joe Ackourey, and welcome to the Fly of the Week. For this episode, episode 44, I'll be tying the Letort Hopper. It's a great terrestrial pattern, it's relatively easy to tie, and it's very effective. Fishes well from months of July, August, September, and October. So, without further ado, let's get started. The Letort Hopper. Great little pattern, great little terrestrial. Imitates a hopper and works really good from the end of July till probably right around the end of October. Okay, make sure that your hook is in the vise and the shank is parallel to your tabletop, and begin covering the entire shank of the hook with thread. You want to wrap it right back to where the shank and the bend meet. Alright, now the first step is building the body. And the body for this fly calls for a yellow fur blend. I'm just using my Sulfur fur blend. You can find on my website. Works really well. The color's perfect. And let's just start building the body. Dub your noodle. This is a little bit of a procedure. I mean, you could use chenille, yellow chenille if you'd like, as a substitute. But I prefer dubbing a nice tapered body. And like I said, it takes some time. Just gradually go up the shank, and you're going to cover 80% of the shank of the hook with this body. Continue dubbing this up. There we go. And I'm right about there, and then I'm going to go back. And I'm going to just gradually build a nice taper. This will take several applications of fur blend. Just take your time. It's a good dubbing exercise, actually. Okay, now I'm going to start tapering it nice. And to get the taper, the desired taper, just slightly overlap your wraps, and you can see the taper starting to form. Again, it's a process, but I just like the effect of a dubbed body. Almost there, guys, almost there. Okay, I think we got it. Now, we have our nice tapered body. I'm just going to cut any stray hairs that are sticking up. So we got a nice tapered body, and the next step is placing the wing on. So for the wing, I'm going to be using the wild turkey feather. I like the mottled look. A mottled wild turkey feather comes from the wing. We're going to take a section of this, a section that's approximately equal to the gap of the hook. And what you're going to do is you need to cement this together. So basically, you just take a couple of drops of your favorite head cement. I hope you guys can see that. Give it a good coating there. And I like to just take my glue bottle stem, the application part, and just smear it on a section. And let that dry. I already took the liberty of cementing a piece, and we're going to measure the approximate gap of the hook. And there's my section. So we have our section. Again, I already prepared this, so which is approximately equal to the gap of the hook. So we have the side that the turkey shows us, and then we have the underside. So you want to fold the underside together like so. Fold it together, and then the open end, you're going to cut a quarter circle at the tip, not the cut end, but toward the natural end. You're going to cut a quarter circle, and when you open it up, you get a nice, except for that tip there, let me just clip that clean, a nice shape of what I'm trying to imitate the wing. So now we have our wing section that's approximately equal to the gap of the hook. Now we have to determine the wing length, and the wing length is determined by, well, how I do it. I take the gap of the hook again and go past the body. So I'm going to go a gap past the body. I'm going to center this wing section that I prepared over the body, and it's going to be about a gap's worth past the body. And again, we're going to, the underside, or the natural side, is going to be facing up, and the underside, of the turkey section, is going to be facing down over the body. So make sure it's centered. Place your thumb on top. Secure that with 8 or 10 wraps. That looks good. Clip off your excess. Cover up your excess. And let's take a peek underneath and see what it looks like. Yeah, very nice. So you have your wing encompassing the body, so to speak. All right. So now we have our body, our wing, and we make sure that our thread is tightly up against where the wing starts. So the thread will be tightly up against where the body ends and the wing starts. That's all one, so to speak. And now we're going to collar the fly with deer hair. The next part of this fly is the collar, made out of, I use my Compara deer hair, my medium shade. Works really well. I'm going to, again, go by the amount is going to be governed by the gap of the hook. So I'm going to take a gap's worth, cut it off the hide, and we're going to, here's the cut ends, here's the natural ends. We're going to cut off, draw out that fuzz that's in between each fiber. That fuzz will kind of absorb water, and this is a dry fly, so we want it to float. So we're just removing that fuzz so that it, floats a little bit higher for us. So these are the natural ends, like I said, and these are the cut ends. I want to place the cut ends the natural ends inside the hair stacker, because we're going to stack this so it looks really cool, really nice. Okay, let's see what we got here. So, yep, very nice. Very nicely done. So we want to orient the natural ends going back, because that's how we are going to tie them in. So I'm going to take these out of the hair stacker, and we're going to make sure they're even. So now we're going to collar this. The entire fly is going to be encompassed by this deer hair, and the length of the collar is going to be right up against where the barb of the hook is. So we're going to approximate it right about there, straight up, and we're going to push this collar all the way around the shank of the hook. I'm going to give my thread a little spin. It doesn't matter clockwise, counterclockwise. I just want it to bite into it really nice, just like so, and tie that down. You're going to wrap through the cut ends, because these cut ends are inevitably the beginning of the head, which you'll see in a moment. So now, carefully draw the cut ends away from the natural ends. You don't want to pull too hard. I'm going to give them a little snip, maybe a little bit more than that. There we go. And I'm going to push these back. So again, that's the beginning of the head, and we're going to wrap into it a little tiny bit. There we go. Now, the rest of this fly is just spinning deer hair. So we're going to take another gap's worth of deer hair, clean out the fuzz like we did prior when we tied in our collar. Comb that fuzz out. You can visibly see that. I'm going to clip off these natural ends and prepare to spin this. To spin it, we're going to wrap a a wrap right in the center of the bunch, and we're going to carefully draw it all the way around. A little bit of a balancing act there, and wrap through the cut ends as I'm pulling them back. Okay, one more application should do it. Again, clip off a little bit less than a gap's worth because I'm almost finished with this. So I'm going to, again, comb out the fuzz so you could see it coming up. Get rid of it. Clip off the natural ends. Push this hair back a little bit. Sneak in that bunch to spin. Give it a little tension and just kind of chase it around the shank of the hook. Push it back a little bit. You kind of lose sight of the eye, so don't get nervous about it being too much deer hair. Now I'm going to finish it off by tying my knot. Okay. Now, carefully separate the natural ends from the cut ends. And this is where it becomes difficult because you don't want to clip too many of too much of the natural ends or the collar away. You want to clip this in a square shape. Clip the top flat, but not too tight to the hook. Clip the front. Clip the sides. Again, you want to avoid clipping the collar. Clip the other side. And you want like a perfect square. Or maybe it's slightly rectangular, but this is the hardest part of the fly. This is the most time-consuming part, actually. Go underneath. Be careful you don't clip the collar too much. I think you get the idea. Just keep going around, clipping it square. You could spend a lot of time doing this. I'm just kind of rushing through it a little bit here. But it's going to come out really nice. And you just keep squaring up this. Okay. I'm going to fan out the collar a little bit. And now I'm going to expose the entire bottom half of the fly by carefully clipping the collar completely off. The bottom, guys, the bottom. Just the bottom. You don't want to clip it anywhere else because you want to expose the yellow belly here, so to speak, as you could see. And I'm just about done. I'm just cleaning it up, making sure it looks presentable. That's it. Great fly. Fish love it. I highly recommend you adding this to your arsenal, especially during terrestrial season. Give it a little drop of glue there. And there you have it. The Letort Hopper. Great little pattern. Missed a couple hairs underneath there. Fishes well. And just want to thank you guys for joining me in this episode of the Fly of the Week. And looking forward to seeing you in the next. Tight lines, guys.